Unlimited talk $75. Talk unlimited to over 50 destinations. Unlimited talk to all local landlines. Landline to mobile 45 cents. Sign up now.
Watch, talk, click.
This is CC6 Newsnight Weekend Review for October 29th to November 1st, 2012. It was the week in which a former Attorney General said extended closure of Parliament infringes on the rights of the people. Workers employed to a state company protested against impending layoffs, and the Nutmeg Festival was launched in the community where the first tree was planted, and the Prime Minister dismissed claims of public servants on his party's executive. In sports, netballers out in their numbers for 20th renewal of a popular competition. Stay with us to bring you details when we return.
Southern Waste Limited offers professional septic tank clearance at unbeatable prices. At Southern Waste Limited, you dump it, we pump it, and we also disinfect it. Located in River Road, St. George's next to Steve's Auto, Southern Waste Limited for professional septic tank clearance. Also available, portable toilets, garbage collection and garbage bins. Call us today, 435-DIRT. That is 435-3478. Southern Waste Limited. You dump it, we pump it.
Unlimited talk $75. Talk unlimited to over 50 destinations. Unlimited talk to all local landlines. Landline to mobile 45 cents. Sign up now.
Watch, talk, click.
At Scotiabank, we offer a number of borrowing solutions to make home ownership work for you. It all starts with a conversation. For the right mortgage advice, come in and talk to us. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Thanks for joining us. I am Samantha Williams. A prominent attorney is disagreeing with the Prime Minister about how the rights of people are affected by the closure of Parliament, which he says is one of the three pillars on which democracy stands.
Former Attorney General Jimmy Bristol says the closing of Parliament is an infringement on the rights of the people, as this is the medium provided in the Constitution for the people of the country to be represented. Addressing a media conference on Tuesday, Prime Minister Honorable Tillman Thomas says the prorogation of Parliament is quite normal under the Westminster system which Grenada inherited.
But the important thing is that all the rights of the people are being protected. As a matter of fact, Grenada has been the first country in the Caribbean to repeal criminal libel. I'm just showing you that it's a free society and there's nothing, nobody's under any restriction or under oppression or any difficulty. Probably we as a government, if we have to obtain a loan or something, we have to go to the Parliament. So, I mean, I say we are under some restraint ourselves in that respect. But as for the society, there's absolutely nobody in Grenada would say, look, I've been oppressed, I've been victimized, I can't. I mean, people, look, the Parliament is an institution, it has its role and its function, we respect it. But as far as Grenadians want to express their rights and their freedoms, there's absolutely no restriction on that.
Mr. Bristol, however, sees the extended prorogation of Parliament in a different way.
The shutting down of Parliament is the shutting down of one of the three pillars of our constitutional democracy. We have the judiciary, we have the executive, which is cabinet, and we have the legislature, which is Parliament. Now, Parliament, apart from legislating, is the place where your parliamentary representatives who are elected by the people go to air the views of the people in their communities which they represent. And if that is shut down, then that aspect of our democracy is also shut down. Yes, therefore it affects our lives.
Elected members of Parliament are unable to do the work which the people voted for them to do, he says.
If we have said to our parliamentary representatives whom we voted for that we want a change of government, for example, or we disagree with a certain course of action, you debate it in Parliament. It is that forum where all the debate takes place. So what the government has done is shut down any debate or cut off or stymied any debate on any issue. So we have to resort to the media, to the press, and so forth, or to gossiping in the rum shops. And that is not a good thing for a democracy. It is undemocratic to say such a thing. To prorogue Parliament is within the confines of the Constitution. But how you do, what you do, is very important. We all know the reason for the prorogation.
There has been no Parliament sitting since July, as the House was on recess in August and was subsequently prorogued on September 15th. Since then, the Prime Minister has expelled 5 of the National Democratic Congress's elected members of Parliament from the party and now commands only 6 of the 15 members of the House.
The minute Parliament opens, the government's going to crash. And what the government is doing is trying to delay the inevitable. So they're playing games with our democratic system. As the Privy Council described in one case, they're playing fast and loose with the Constitution. And that is not acceptable. It's not a good thing. It sends a poor message about the character of the government and the character of the composite members of that government.
Mr. Bristol says the closing of Parliament is only to extend the life of the current administration.
The status quo prevails, and he's then therefore secure for 6 months. So immediately March comes, well, we know what's going to happen. But it's rather silly, because if you know that you do not in fact command the majority, the right and proper thing is to say, gentlemen, we are not wanted. Or we have a minority. Let us go to the polls and see if the people really want us. Let the people decide. And delaying it only makes it worse, because the people aren't stupid. They know what is going on. The talk on the street in all quarters of life in Grenada is that the government has done the wrong thing. They continue to do the wrong thing. And, you know, they're quite looking forward to the election.
The Constitution allows for a maximum 6 months prorogation of Parliament. Beverly Sinclair, CC6 Newsnight.
Workers employed to the state-owned Gravel and Concrete Corporation demonstrated their discontent with the recent dismissal letters they received by staging a march with their unions through the streets of St. George's.
After signing a petition with the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, workers at Gravel and Concrete and Emulsion Production Corporation on Tuesday staged a peaceful march through the town of St. George to the ministerial complex. The workers and the union delivered copies of the petition to Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, Minister of Finance Honorable Nazim Burke at his office on the Coronet St. George's, and Minister of Works Senator Dennett Modest. They hope to have discussions on the way forward as it relates to the pending layoff of staff at Gravel and Concrete. President General of GTAU, Chester Humphrey, spoke with the CC6 Newsnight team about the petition.
We are asking for the temporary removal of the ban on sand mining. We are asking for the removal of the 15% VAT. And we are asking for the government to immediately appoint a board of directors. Gravel and Concrete, the government has failed to appoint a board of directors for almost 2 months now. And that is totally unacceptable. And we're demanding a suspension to the layoff of the workers at this moment.
Chief Shop Steward Trevor Cox says more consideration should have been given to the workers.
What I think should happen is that I think the government should be at least more caring and allocate some work out of the government, the many projects the government have for Gravel and Concrete. So that will allow the corporation to have more business. Therefore, by having more business, we'll ultimately save the jobs of the workers overall. We have a bloated management staff of 18 persons, and they are not prepared. They are not prepared to make any sacrifice. It all depends on the rank and file members to make sacrifice. So what we are saying is that we are calling for, in the event that we do have to go on a rotation, that we have what we call shared sacrifice. Shared sacrifice, that means everybody puts in and to make a sacrifice. Because in good times, everybody benefits. So in difficult times, we say the same thing. Everybody should bear the pain, and not just only the rank and file.
Some of the workers also expressed their discontent with what they call mistreatment of workers.
2 workers going home, you know, almost the bonds are here and this thing because I got my children and the mothers got their children and things. That is not fair.
25 years I've been working with the company and they come now and they tell me go home without no money. And that is unfair to me. I'm fighting for my bread and dollar and I need it. Because of the failure of the government of the day. No jobs.
I have some money I have to get from Gravel and Concrete, which they shot pay me before when I start to work there and me on contract. So when I come permanent, I have some retractive money to collect and is a good bit of time now is years and I can get it. And if the company decide to close down, then I may work going vain. I hope to gain back what we lose. I hope that the government would come to our assistance and assist us in Gravel and Concrete so that we could have work, so we could feed the family.
One of the issues the workers were hoping to address was the absence of a board for Gravel and Concrete, but Prime Minister Honorable Tillman Thomas, addressing a media conference, says a board of directors was installed on Monday.
No, but there's a board. Maybe it was late. There's a board of directors.
For Gravel and Concrete
yes,
and Nowassa right now?
For Gravel and Concrete, as far as I know, it was discussed yesterday. There is a board.
And when was that decision made, sir? Because I know Carlisle Green Jr. was the former director of the head of that board, and it was there, and nothing. I think for 2 months or so there was no board in place.
No, board was approved yesterday. The present chairman resigned, so they have to appoint a chairman. Carlisle Green has resigned as chairman, so they have to appoint a new chairman. I can't give you the details. I don't care, but the board was appointed.
The more than 50 workers who were given letters to be sent home at the end of October say they are angry that a number of government projects are ongoing. However, Gravel and Concrete did not get orders to supply any of the materials. The workers to be laid off by Gravel and Concrete brings to a total more than 400 workers who are facing job losses over the past few weeks due to closure of businesses and restructuring of some companies. Janelle Andrews, CC6 Newsnight.
Prime Minister Honorable Tillman Thomas intervened to prevent the workers going home on November 1st, but a solution to the problem has not yet been found. 2012 is the year of the nutmeg, and the spice which once put Grenada on the top of the map is the focus of a week of activities designed to raise awareness and encourage more people to plant a nutmeg tree.
The inaugural Nutmeg and Spices Festival was launched on Friday at Belvedere Estate St. John, kicking off a week of activities to celebrate the spices. The year 2012 has been declared the year of the nutmeg as the government seeks to return Grenada to its former glory of being one of the top producers of nutmegs. At the launch on Friday, ministry officials and former ministry officials engaged in replanting of nutmeg trees at the Belvedere Estate, where the first nutmeg tree was planted in Grenada. Acting Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Patrick Simmons, says that this nutmeg festival is a way of renewing the glory of the crop.
Having now been armed with the nutmeg strategy for modernizing and improving the competitiveness of our important spice industry, our greatest challenge is to mobilize our people and renew interest in the spice industry once more. As far as the strategy to do so, the government, with the solid support of the Ministry of Agriculture, dedicated the year 2012 as the year of nutmeg and other spices.
Representative of the Minister of Finance, Christopher De Riggs, referred to former Minister of Finance, Honorable George Brison's book, Island of Conflict, as he looked after the well-being of farmers.
When he identified the commodity export sector as being the sector that drove the economy up to a certain time, and chief in that sector was nutmeg. Of course, we have seen the decline of these commodity sectors. But it is a very interesting thing that when you speak to the economists and you speak to the policymakers, it seems that the stars of nutmeg are rising again.
Governor General Sir Carlisle Green officially launched the festival, and he says to boost the industry, quality research and quality specialists are needed.
When you want to build the industry, you need a research base. You need the scientists involved, so that they can tell you what is it and what kind of combination can be worked out. And that includes all the dishes and other things that we know. Take nutmeg. Mr. Noel, my good friend. Nutmeg now is a recognized international product. But he was a scientist. And he got other scientists to help him.
Everyone is asked to play a part in the success of Grenada's nutmeg industry. Karima Lewis, CC6 Newsnight.
When we return, Grenada slips 3 places on Doing Business ranking.
Only one dishwashing liquid can do the job. Quicks is the expert in taking out the toughest grease easily. You know you can trust it. Quicks cuts grease better, full stop.
GTM wishes to advise its customers of its new toll-free office and fax numbers for our local offices. You can contact us at 800-4GTM. That is 800-4486. Alternatively, we can be contacted on telephone numbers 232-2351, 232-6456 or 232-0920.
GTM, solid, reliable.
Superior one-on-one customer service. Phenomenal products customized to your individual style and need. Fast and efficient service are all attributes that have made St. Lou the leading manufacturers of windows and doors for over 30 years in St. Lucia. And we are now pleased to extend our services to you. Try our new single-hung windows, which can be tilted for easy cleaning. Our famous casement windows, which locks with keys for added security. Our gliders, projected aluminum and heavy sliding windows, sliding and commercial doors, commercial shop fronts, and more. Visit us today, building number 19 Frequente Industrial Park, St. George's, or call us at 439-6538.
Hey, I was just thinking about you,
What do you look like?
Well built. So what do you look like?
I'm a bit of a looker.
I'm a decent cook.
And I'm really tidy.
So what are you
wearing?
Too shy to talk? Well, with Digicel's Free After 5, life will never be the same again. Digicel makes communicating much easier and affordable. Plus, you get to talk much longer and for free. Talk for 5 minutes on any local Digicel call and get the rest of the hour absolutely free. That's 55 free minutes. So go ahead, make that call and keep talking. Free After 5, shaking things up since 2010. Digicel, the bigger, better network.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Honorable Tillman Thomas was asked to defend the recent appointment to the NDC executive of people who could have been seen as public servants, but he says there is no contradiction as none of them reports to the Public Service Commission.
Prime Minister Honorable Tillman Thomas was on Tuesday asked to explain his position on the election of public servants to the executive of the National Democratic Congress. The PM had ruled that former Chairman Kenrick Fullerton was not eligible to be an executive member of the party because of his job in the Ministry of Sports. In a media conference on Tuesday, Prime Minister Thomas says the executive members appointed are not public servants, as a report to the Chief of Staff in the PM's office and not to the Public Service Commission.
You see, these people are just being mischievous and dishonest. The people who are elected at our convention, they are not public officers in the strict sense. We have introduced a new system which was borrowed from the Canadian system, whereby there are persons who work at the Prime Minister's office. The people who were appointed, they are under the Chief of Staff. We introduced, and we had discussions of it over a period of time. It doesn't matter we just went into it like that overnight. We recognize that there are people who might be politically connected and they have to be part of the system. And we don't want to get in any contradiction. Because of our respect for the institution of the public service, we have a new system has been introduced.
Prime Minister Thomas says there are no grounds to say that he's contradicting his message of accountability and transparency.
That is a weak argument. Have absolutely nothing to do with the Fullerton issue. You see, all those who are attacking my stand on transparency, they have not come up with anything substantial, not one. I could defend all my stand on these issues, and I said, and this is one. There's no lack of transparency there. Absolutely none.
The PM also addressed the expulsion of 10 members of the NDC, which he says has not negatively affected the party.
I think we are even more cohesive now as a government. We function probably more efficiently now as a government than when you have to deal with disruptive forces within the system. So it hasn't really affected us. It may send a negative signal outside of Grenada. People might see the resignation and so on as not the best thing for the country, and which is not the best thing for the country. But at the same time, from politically speaking, I don't think it has affected us in any serious way.
He says he knew it would be tough to win the next general election again with the same team from 2008, so he had to come up with an election strategy.
The Grenadian people would never support a party that is divided at the executive. So we had to come up with, and the convention is the best body to do it. The convention is the supreme authority of the party. And it was notorious, the conduct of those who were expelled. Their conduct in the public attacking the government and its policies. I mean, this is just academic arguments to raise about, I mean, the nation knows where the people stand and what they've been doing.
The objective of his administration, he says, is to provide good governance to the people of Grenada. Karima Lewis, CC6 Newsnight.
The latest IFC ranking has shown that Grenada has slipped 3 places, but a Ministry of Finance official says all factors were not taken into consideration when Grenada was being assessed.
Grenada has fallen to 100 in the Ease of Doing Business ranking, a 3-point drop from 97. But officials in the Ministry of Finance say the country has not done badly. Director of Private Sector Development in the Ministry of Finance, Christopher DeRiggs, in an interview with CC6 Newsnight on Monday, says all factors that determine competitiveness in an economy were not taken into consideration in ranking Grenada. Some of these include how long it takes to start a business, how easy or difficult it is to conduct trade, and the efficiency of ports and customs. Mr. DeRiggs says there has been a general decline for the 9 Caribbean countries that took part in the IFC's ranking. Guyana is the only country that did not have any change in its rankings, which is 114.
If you should compare Grenada with the rest of the Caribbean, you would see that all Caribbean countries, there are 9 or so Caribbean countries surveyed, and all Caribbean countries, with the exception of Trinidad and Tobago, fell in the ranking. Some fell by 4 points. In one case, one fell by 5 points. In the case of Grenada and one other country, the fall was 3 points, and then in one case, 2 points, and so on.
Despite the ranking for Grenada, Mr. DeRiggs says the Ministry of Finance has done things in the last 4 years that would have shown a good period of reform.
In the last 4 years, we have done things that really would constitute permanent improvement in the doing business climate in Grenada, things that will not go back, things that are permanent and will last for all times. For example, we have, for the first time, instituted what's called a Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Properties Registry, with a staff of at least 9, and it was the first time in our history that we had that. It represented an opportunity for people who wanted to start businesses to go through an easier process. So the startup period for new businesses would have been lessened as a result of that.
He says the ranking should not prevent potential investors from coming to Grenada.
They obviously, in researching the country, would see things like where you rank in the overall doing business ranking. But if they are looking at our ranking, then they will take into consideration that Grenada, was one of the top 10 reformers as recently as 2 years ago. And we still rank very high when it comes to, for example, the protection of investors. We rank 32 out of 185 countries. And we rank very high in the Caribbean in that regard. In the field of the issuance of construction permits, we are still in the top 10 in the world. Out of 183 countries, when it looks at the relative ease in which one can get a construction permit, Grenada is still ranked number 10.
He says government is in the process of reviewing its doing business reform agenda and will soon continue the process of engaging key players in civil society on the matter. The Doing Business Ranking is an annual report by the International Financial Corporation that covers over 185 countries and is an indication of the level of competitiveness in an economy. Karima Lewis, CC6 Newsnight.
As the lionfish continues to wreak havoc in Grenada's waters, the Dive Association is going on a mission to catch as many as possible and raise awareness about this invasive species in observance of Tourism Month.
It will be a lionfish event for the Dive Association in its observation of November's Tourism Month. Tourism Month is being celebrated in the Caribbean under the theme One Sea, One Voice, One Caribbean, enhancing our tourism products. A number of dive shops will come together on December 1st in an effort to catch as many lionfish as possible. President of the Dive Association of Grenada, Kristen Finney, spoke with CC6 Newsnight on Tuesday.
This year we're going to be doing a lionfish activity to bring the dive centres together with some public awareness. We're going to catch as many fish as we can, bring them into the beach, and then have them on display for people to see. We'll be cleaning them so people can learn how to clean them. And then hopefully we'll have enough to eat, and we will be preparing them so people can get some tasters for what it's all about.
Mrs. Finney says that this event could contribute to tourism, and she's encouraging all divers to participate.
We're killing them every week because we need to be, but actually having it as an event where people are invited to come and be a part of the process, I think will be really good, just to show that there's lots of things that the dive sector does, and we are mostly based on tourism. I don't think anyone can argue with that. We're tourism based, our clients are mostly tourists. We'd like to get more Grenadians involved, and part of that is seeing what we do on a regular basis, and these days what we do on a regular basis includes a lot of lionfish. So it's a new, interesting, exciting component of what we do, and hopefully that'll spur some interest, it'll spur some people, and we'll just get the turnout.
As part of Tourism Month, the Dive Association will be sponsoring a radio program with prizes for listeners in various competitions.
There'll be some questions popping up through the month of November on particular dive sites and dive interested facts, and the people that call in with the right answer will win a prize from one of our Dive Association members. So if you hear them online, or you're really good at your dive site facts and figures, or you're just curious, keep an ear out. And I know they have them for all different sectors going on through the whole month of November. But we'll have a couple in there. If people are interested, you can win yourself some free experiences, which would be good too.
She's encouraging active participation as the prizes will be very attractive. Karima Lewis, CC6 Newsnight.
Coming up in sports, triathletes finished strong in Miami's 70.3 Ironman.
Breeze removes stains in the first wash. The other detergents, not always. You have to wash it all again and use twice the amount. So, which one costs more? Do the math. Choose Breeze. Unbeatable stain removal.
Cool me down. Nothing kind of hard in my country. So I open a bakery. Hey, yes.
Hey, in order that I should marry.
When did you jump? Soca. Friendliest people you'll ever meet. Wise man with black stone beside him.
Live on Community Channel 6 every Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's Sound System Saturday.
Hello, I'm Chef Didier and welcome to Meals in a Minute, brought to you by the Baron Gourmet Collection.
Today we join Chef Didier on a culinary trip to China for a delicious sweet and sour chicken stir-fry.
We start by simply branding a chicken breast in a hot pan with a little bit of oil. Add a little more oil to the pan and stir fry your fresh vegetables until barely tender. Then add a jar of sweet and sour sauce from the Baron Gourmet Collection with some fresh noodles and toss it until nice and hot. And now you are ready to enjoy your sweet and sour stir fry.
We hope we can inspire your next meal in minutes with the Baron Gourmet Collection. Baron, we make food tasty.
Welcome back. 2 exciting games were contested on opening day of the 20th Annual Grenada Netball Association Inter-Sector Netball Tournament in Tantine, St. George on Wednesday. Janelle Andrews has more.
The event commenced with a march past from Buns Point to the Tanty Netball Complex, followed by the 2 games between Coyaba Blazers and Small Businesses, with Small Businesses winning 42-32 and Republic Bank losing to Huggins 24-31. Keisha Best of Coyaba Blazers and Cornella Cumberbatch of Small Businesses spoke with Sports on 6 after their game.
We're just looking to come out and have a lot of fun, win some matches hopefully, and just keep everybody together and keep the team alive and going, every year as usual.
Our hopes is to come out and win. Every time we come out with a strong potential to win. We have good players, we come out with good intention, and I think this is our first game, and we didn't practice much, we didn't combine much together with each other, but we come tonight and we coordinate as one, and we came out victorious.
Both players say there are some things that they are concerned about.
I think the organization is pretty okay. It's a pity I didn't see a lot of the teams come out to match pass, but everybody has their own reasons and obligations and so on. But altogether, I think that the tournament would be a pretty good tournament by the end of it.
It's good to see a couple teams coming out and take part in the tournament. It wasn't what I expected. I expected more participation and more teams, but we are happy that we're having a competition.
President of the GNA, Janice Charles, addressed the tournament's opening.
For the past 15 or so years, the GCIC have been sponsoring this tournament. Unfortunately, the GCIC was unable to continue in that light for this year. We must be grateful to the Chamber, however. We are quite aware of the constraints the economic downturn have had on all businesses.
Former president of the GNA, Gloria Payne Banfield, who declared the tournament open, applauded the teams and the GNA for the continuation of the games.
We brought our children, we brought our partners, we brought our parents to these games. And these games were the popular games, because everybody had somebody playing in the games. I must congratulate the Netball Association for continuing these games and for inspiring the men to participate.
Games are played daily at the Tanty Netball Complex.
And finally, 8 athletes from Grenada recently took on the challenge to put their minds, bodies, and souls to the test in the Miami 70.3 Ironman. The 8-member Spice team were among 2,500 other athletes from around the world to compete in the event last Sunday. Their first leg of the journey was a 1.2-mile swim, followed by a 56-mile bike ride, and finished with a 2-lap half marathon. Rick Hallman, Mike Quinn, Mark Scott, and Mark DeCall all had raced at similar events in Puerto Rico the year before, but this year they smashed those previous times, with Quinn completing the event almost an hour faster. The team thanked everyone for their support, including Grenadian Olympian swimmer Esau Simpson, who was on the bike course. Hallman and Scott now look ahead to the Cozumel Full Ironman in Mexico on November 25th, where they will both race over double the distance. That's all we have for you in Sports on 6. We recap the headlines next.
Still struggling to stream content? Get Flow Broadband. With the most affordable rates on the fastest speeds around, you click and stream all the content you want smoother than ever.
Flow, watch, talk, click.
Recapping the headlines, it was the week in which a former Attorney General said extended closure of Parliament infringes on the rights of the people. Workers employed to a state company protested against impending layoffs. The Nutmeg Festival was launched in the community where it first started, and Prime Minister dismissed claims of public servants on his party's executive. In sports, netball is out in their numbers for 20th renewal of a popular competition. That brings us to the end of CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for October 29th to November 1st, 2012. Top stories from CC6 Newsnight can also be seen on our Facebook page, Flow Community Channel 6. On behalf of the news team, I'm Samantha Williams. Thank you for joining us.